her little pet under control. If Harry comes back to the UK and starts getting his friendships back with people, then that is a threat to her manipulations, and everything that she has done to keep him under control.
Breaking today, the Daily Mail's diary editor, Richard Eden, claims that the establishment plot being driven against Prince William and Catherine and aided and abetted by allies of Prince Harry is the real reason why they have now had to hire a crisis expert, and he predicts trouble ahead. We'll get analysis with royal YouTube sensation according to Taz imminently. But first, let me take you through this new reporting from Richard Eden, who says, firstly, people close to the couple are saying that, this woman is joining in a non-crisis role based in the Kensington Palace press office. However, he reports William and Catherine know that there may be trouble ahead, and it's likely to come from a familiar source, Prince Harry and Meghan. The establishment plot to bring the Duke and Duchess of Sussex back to Britain is gathering pace, with a decision expected within the next couple of weeks on the reinstatement of the couple's automatic arm protection paid for by British taxpayers when they make return visits to this country. Over the past few days, we have seen gushing front-page stories in red-top newspapers from sources close to the Sussexes. One was about how Meghan could visit Britain this summer, bringing her children Archie and Lily to see their grandfather for the first time in 4 years. Another was about how Harry is inviting his father to open the forthcoming Victor's Games. Both these stories and other similar ones serve to put pressure on the king, pressure on the rest of the royal family to roll out the red carpet for the Sussexes, even though the Californian-based couple have never apologized for their disgraceful attacks on their relations in television interviews, Harry's tawdry memoirs, and in their Netflix docuseries. But he goes on. This PR offensive is all part of the establishment plot I have reported on over recent months, which aims to restore the Sussexes to the affections of the British public. The plot is known as Project Thor, because the aim is to warm up the Duke and Duchess's frosty relationships with the rest of the royal family and with the British people. As I wrote last September, worryingly, King Charles has been drawn into this, aided by some key figures of the establishment behind the scenes. These are disturbing developments for William and Catherine, who are carefully and quietly establishing themselves as king and queen in waiting. Harry and Meghan returning to set up their rival royal court at the same time as trying to make a fortune for themselves has the making of a future crisis for the monarchy. So while Lisa Ravenscroft's new role at Kensington Palace may be a non-crisis one for now, it might not be long before she needs all the skills she acquired while dealing with disasters in the corporate world. Now, Tash, okay, I accept there is an irony here because Richard Eden is the diary editor of the Daily Mail, and the Daily Mail, I believe, has been part of this establishment plot, in part, as you have pointed out, sending out their wicked witches lately on a regular basis, including Liz Jones, including Amanda Platel, to attack William and Catherine almost constantly, simply for doing good. I mean, we covered it earlier in the week on the show, but Liz Jones's attack on Catherine for her winter video, which was so deeply personal for her, was just deranged. It was totally deranged. And we will come to all of that, Tash, because I do think the Daily Mail has a role here. But I do want to give some credit to Richard Eden here, because he has been exposing this establishment plot, and he's done it against the wishes of some of his colleagues, which is difficult, isn't it, when you're in the mainstream media and you're having to go against your colleagues. And I think he's right on this. I really do. I think Project Thor is absolutely gathering pace. I think The Sun are now a full-on paid-up PR operative for Prince Harry and Meghan, which was behind those two front pages last weekend about the Invictus Games and about Meghan's return. And I do think it is desperately unfair that the British establishment are putting Prince William and Catherine through this. And I think it probably proves that deep down they're Republicans who want the overthrow of the royal family, because why else would you think, Tash, that the return of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle is a good thing when William and Catherine have been absolutely resolute, and especially William? I'd say Catherine just supports her husband on this, but William has been resolute that the only way to deal with Harry and Meghan is exile. So I'm really concerned about what Richard Eden is reporting, and I do give him credit for doing this. I do.
New claims circulating among royal watchers suggest a growing push within parts of the establishment to encourage Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's return to the UK, a move some commentators believe could complicate the position of Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Tonight, Dan is joined by a leading royal YouTube commentator to examine where these claims originate, what has actually been reported, and why the timing has raised eyebrows. Is this a coordinated effort to reshape the royal landscape, or another case of speculation filling the vacuum left by official silence?
With regards to the establishment plots, I do believe there are people in the media, even maybe people in the government, to be fair, that
Absolutely.
are working towards helping them. I do believe that. I believe that Richard is on the money. I do not believe in the plot, which is sometimes being fed, that the royals are trying to welcome Harry and Meghan back, that Charles is secretly involved, paving the way for Harry and Meghan's return, that he's at loggerheads with Prince William and he wants Harry back. And I don't believe any of that storyline. However, I do believe the establishment plot when it comes to mainstream media and the government, and I think it's got more to do with supporting the Republican movements. I believe because you only have to look at the comments section on any story that goes out about Harry and Meghan coming to the UK. You're not just talking a few hundred people, thousands of people, sometimes tens of thousands of people will comment saying, if they are allowed back, if they come back into the UK and are forced on us in any sort of royal role, then I would, these are even royalists saying that I would prefer that the monarchy folds. I would prefer to become a republic. And I believe that these stories get pushed despite evidence to the contrary. The king did meet him last year. Yes, I believe it was a mistake, but Harry backed him into a corner and did it publicly by appearing on that BBC TV show. He did it deliberately so that if the king didn't meet him, Harry could then push that woe is me narrative, cold, evil, nasty, uncaring King Charles. And it was a way to shut him up that the king did meet him, hence why he did it so publicly, so briefly, in between, slotted him in between other business meetings, that he actually met with other people for longer. But yes, I do believe Richard is right. I do believe there are people that want to stir up this storyline that Harry and Meghan are coming back. I do not believe that Meghan wants to come back to the UK. I do not believe that she will ever allow the children to come to the UK whilst they are under age. I think Meghan feels safer in the UK, as in keeping her little bubble, her little pet under control. If Harry comes back to the UK and starts getting his friendships back with people, then that is a threat to her, her manipulations and everything that she has done to keep him under control. So yes, I do agree with some of this establishment plot. I believe it's to do with the anti-monarchist people, because they know that the public are furious at the thought, disgusted at the thought of those two returning.
Totally. They really are. And unfortunately for William and Catherine, it's not really their choice in terms of having to fight back. Like, for me, I think it's very sensible, Tash, that they are bringing this woman, Lisa Ravenscroft, in. I accept what they're saying, that she is going to operate on a day-to-day basis. But given we know the dirty tricks that Harry and Meghan will play, and given we know, Tash, that they're actually becoming more desperate, which means I think there will be worse things to come. I mean,
it's brewing. It's brewing, Dan. Everyone can see it's brewing.
So they have to be ready. They have to be ready, because what happened, Tash, because I was quite close to it at the time, after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle Mexited, there was an idea that the royals could tone down all of their PR, and they hired people. They got rid of a lot of the people that were there over the couple of years during Harry and Meghan's time in the royal family, because it had got so nasty. I mean, I was very much at the heart of that, reporting on a lot of it, but it had got nasty because you had Buckingham Palace battling with Kensington Palace, battling with the Sussexes, right? But it was necessary because Harry and Meghan were lying, and they were plotting to try and destroy the royal family behind the scenes. And we know that that's what ended up happening when they came into the Oprah interview, right? So none of that was like a conspiracy. It literally happened.
Yeah.
But everything was toned down over the next couple of years. Now, I actually always said at the time I thought that was very unwise, and I still believe it was very unwise, Tash. They hired people from organizations like the NHS who may have a worthy cause, but are not aware of the sort of mud, the
Yeah.
sort of dirty tricks that Harry and Meghan were using in the United States of America. And so the fact that William and Catherine are now actually realizing that they do need to take this threat seriously, that they do need to be prepared. And by the way, this isn't just them doing it for themselves. It's doing it for their children. It's doing it for the royal family, the wider institution. I think it's really wise. I understand why they're having to say, look, it's not crisis. Of course it's not crisis. But the reality is those are the skills that she brings to the job. And those are the skills that Kensington Palace desperately needs, because William and Catherine, for example, were very much let down by their team during the terrible attacks on Catherine when she had not announced her cancer. That they were desperately let down by the team. So I'm just trying to give a little bit of context as to why I do believe, number one, this appointment is the right one, and number two, why William and Catherine are right to prepare for this, because it's coming. As you say, it's brewing.
William has has a much clearer head, I think, with his father, a stronger head. I think he's got a lot of Prince Philip in him, to be fair. And Prince Philip was the sort of man that would grab a bull by the horns. And I think Prince William has that. Charles, for various reasons, it's been reported throughout his entire life, he is a lot softer. But I think William is a lot more practical. And he now has the fact that his son is of age. We have seen Prince George's slow introduction to his potential role of one day becoming the future Prince of Wales. And who knows, maybe even one day king if the monarchy lasts that long. But that's all the more reason for Prince William to employ someone on the day-to-day stuff, but she's got the skills and the experience to tackle anything that may come their way. As I said, they're slowly introducing Prince George into a more public-facing role. He wants extra people there to protect and to also fight fire with fire if it so happens. And like you said, Harry and Meghan are getting desperate now. It's only going to be a matter of time. All of the big deals have dried up. Everything is not working. Everything is crumbling around them. The big payout that they've ever had has been Netflix, it's been Oprah, it's been Spare. Why? Because they attacked the royals. Even though that so much of it was proven to be lies, it still gives that initial burst, people lapping it up, people dissecting it, and a massive cash injection, slur in there. But yes, that's what I believe that they are doing. I believe that they are having someone there as a preemptive, because I think a strike is coming from Harry and Meghan. I think they are brewing. The fact that you are seeing Harry still quite clearly trying to compete with Prince William, the fact that Meghan still does silly, petty little things to try and compete with the Princess of Wales, the fact that Harry timed his Diana walk amongst the landmines again, it's not like he hadn't done it before, to land smack bang on Queen Camilla's birthday. Harry and Meghan have not stopped declaring war towards the royal family. They are just changing their tactics and how they're going about it. So I think it is very sensible that Prince William has taken on as someone as credible as Liza Ravencroft. You know, she's got 20 years experience. She comes highly rated. They need someone in there, don't they, that's ready and waiting for the first round of attacks to come, that will fight fire with fire. You cannot stick your head in the sand, which I believe that the king has done with his youngest son. And it comes a point where a father's love needs to be overruled by what is better for the rest of the country, for the Commonwealth, and for the continuation of the monarchy.
100%. And that's what William and Catherine are thinking about. Are you nervous at all about this new book, Tash, that's coming from Russell Myers, the royal editor? The first biography, joint biography, he says, in a decade.
I don't know. There's been so many books written. This is the first one that I've seen that is predominantly just about Catherine and William now as adults, not a lot of speculation about their teenage years and what they got up to in university when they were leading, let's be honest, a very, very carefully orchestrated but private life. A lot of it was speculation and gossip. And I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. I have, read quite a lot of Russell Myers like articles and stuff. I don't find him to be dishonest or someone that blows stuff up for a bit of theatre or whatever, dramatics and clickbait. But it's hard to tell unless Catherine and William have been involved in this book. You never really know what these books are going to say. They could go one way, they could go another. The cover makes it look like it's going to be a bit of a love story. I hope we don't have the silly shenanigans again brought up to do with the false story that was made up of Prince William's affair. But you never know. He's got to sell the book. I'm sure that the Daily Mail and the Sun will run enough excerpts on it that we probably won't even need to buy the book, Dan, and we'll probably get a better gist of what's going to be in it by then, because they always serialize the most dramatic bits to make you want to go buy the book. So will I be adding it to my collection? I don't know. I will wait and see what the excerpts say.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that is going to be most interesting to me is how much have Kensington Palace cooperated with Russell Myers, because the thing about Russell Myers is he is a member of the Royal Rota, which means he does have to have day-to-day relations with William and Catherine. They can't really just ignore him. And that will be interesting. And also, have they provided any insight either into their views about Harry and Meghan's attack on them, or what they were really going through during Catherine's cancer battle? I hope so. I'd actually like to hear it. I'm like you. I'm going to reserve judgment because obviously at this point it's just a big PR push. So of course they're trying to make out there are huge revelations because they want people to buy the book. I'm going to reserve judgment, but I don't immediately believe, oh, this is going to be a hit piece, for example. That's not where I'm immediately coming
like you
from.
said, he'd be blowing up his royal connections and royal career if he does a hit job on Catherine and William, and he does, obviously, he is on that chosen list of people that Kensington Palace do work with. So it would be career suicide, I think, if he did try to do that. So I'm hoping it's going to be a nice, informative book, but obviously they do need to have the odd things in there to
Well, of course,
sell the
but I
book.
do see. For me, I'm much more interested in what's been going on over the past 2 years, and hopefully, he does have a bit of insight into that because, I mean, she's just been so incredible, and actually, they have been so incredible together, and there is so much we don't know. And of course, I do. Look, I totally respect the privacy around it, but if they have decided to, for example, give a little bit more color, then I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Rob Shute has been doing a little bit of reporting on Catherine's birthday, which was, of course, last week. But he's revealed that she skipped lunch with the royal family because he says palace life isn't for her. She's a country girl who finds comfort in family and nature.
With no formal announcements from the palace, analysts are weighing verifiable signals, media narratives, public engagements, legal developments, and shifting commentary. The key question isn't conspiracy, it's impact. Even unproven claims can influence public perception and pressure institutions. Our guest breaks down what can be confirmed, what remains conjecture, and why William and Catherine's steady, low-drama approach continues to anchor public trust amid uncertainty. For clear, fact-checked royal analysis without spin, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Comment below. Do these claims reflect a real power shift or media overreach?
And this is because she celebrated her birthday far from the pomp of the palace, opting for an intimate lunch with her sister Pippa Matthews and their mother Carol Middleton. A source telling him she was completely at ease, warm, charming, and radiant. With her family, she can laugh, relax, and just be herself. That's harder to do with some royal relatives. Now, they went to the Fungi Club. This was a French bistro, in Hungerford, Berkshire, for the private gathering. And insiders say Kate feels far more comfortable in Wellington boots than a diamond tiara. Family and simple surroundings are where she truly relaxes. Sources also described palace life as a challenge. Some royal relatives can be difficult with endless expectations and constant scrutiny. Kate treasures these moments with Pippa and Carol, where she doesn't have to navigate any of that. Kate's birthday also reflected quiet reflection with an Instagram post describing walks in nature and moments of peace after a challenging year. And he says she prioritizes comfort, family, and simplicity over royal spectacle. And Tash, the restaurant did actually confirm that they did have this very special guest and how much it meant to all of them. And I think it's lovely. I think it's lovely that, you know, despite what, well, we know who tried to claim about life in the United Kingdom, actually, we all respect Catherine's right to privacy and a private life. Isn't it so notable? Not one person in that restaurant posted a picture on social media. Tash, you know, it's quite lovely that she is able to go and have a special celebration like that with her mum and sister and be completely normal about the whole thing. I think it's great.
That's the thing, like I said earlier, you know, that the thing I think that people really love about Catherine is her simplicity. She is about nature and family and spending time with her friends. There is something that's so lovely about her. Yes, she's a princess and she looks amazing when she's dressed up as a tiara, behaving like the future queen that she is. But there's also just something really homely and lovely about her that makes her a genuinely kind and compassionate person. And I think people respect that. They respect Catherine's and William's privacy. And I think a lot of the photographs that we've ever had where their privacy has been invaded, it generally is the paparazzi, normally a European paparazzi that sells it off to, you know, a country that doesn't have the same protection laws that we do in the UK, which again, despite what those other two said, are pretty strong, especially when it comes to royal children. But I think that the public do love Catherine, they like William, and they can see that when they are away from the spotlights and they're not highlighting a good cause or trying to uplift others, they're just a normal family. And I love the fact that people have enough respect to not whip their cameras out and to not do that. Whereas, of course, it's quite in contrast to the other two, one in particular who calls the paparazzi to follow her to every lunch date that she has, because otherwise no one would care enough to take her photograph. And that's a very big difference.
Yeah, indeed. Tash, it would be remiss of me not to talk about the other big royal story of the week, which they've got away with, but is totally disgusting. Harry and Meghan washing their hands
Ugh.
of the Parents Network,
Yeah.
having used these grieving parents of children who took their own lives, using them all across the CBS interview, and then we're done. When there was
Humanitarian
absolutely
award.
yeah, take the humanitarian award, and then we're done. Because basically we can't afford to run Archewell.
They milked
seemingly.
They milked it. They milked it for all it was worth. They used it for every opportunity. It got them onto people's podcasts and to TV shows because it was them promoting World Mental Health Day. It gave them the avenue that they were going in. You're seeing Harry currently latch onto the emergency services like the firemen. That's the exact same thing what they're doing. They latch on to people and to groups. They milk them for all of their worth. They use people for their own promotion and publicity. And when they think that they can't quite wring any more out of it, they dump it. They literally dump it.
I know. And the thing is, Tash, that we know what they do, but these poor parents
they got
really,
duped.
They got duped, exactly, and who really put their faith in these two. And of course, it's a total collapse of the humanitarian project. Of, yes, they're going to keep winning fake awards, right? That they're going to keep on faking it and pretending that, of course. And also just because other people want them to show up at things, it gets your shitty awards coverage and publicity, And yes, pay to play. There is loads of pay to play going on. It's going to keep happening. I mean, even the Us Weekly piece made it clear that despite the backlash, Harry is going to keep on showing up to do these paid speeches for small organizations with absolutely no philanthropy or charitable cause at its heart. So that they're almost being unashamed and unabashed about what they're doing now. But I just can't get over the grimness of the fact of what this charity is. You know, it's very different to Travelist.
Yeah.
You could even argue it's very different to Send to Bali. You know, these parents trusted these two. And by the way, Tash, they've washed their hands. They have nothing to do with it now. They've provided 1 year of funding. 1 year? That's nothing. That's nothing. Come on, put your hand in your pocket, but they don't. They never do, because they either don't have the money or they're so worried about the fact that the money is going to go in the future. But Tash, if they really cared about this charity, they would have bankrolled it for 10 years minimum. 1 year of operational costs, no future involvement. But basically, we're happy to keep showing up for the photo opportunities. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Of course it was. And I mean, I put this in my video I did yesterday. I knew that they were going to do this, and it really showed them for what families is when they had that art installation done in New York, and it was giant phone screens that were put up, and each person that had taken their life due to various harms on social media had their picture there, and then you'd push the phone and it would tell the person's story. Harry and Meghan weren't there during the day when it was all set up. They turned up for the evening with their typical photographer, camera crew, filmed a slick video for their Archwell release, hugged the parents, you know, had the typical pose in Meghan's sad face and everything, looking at the screens. It was a performance because they paid that money to have that art installation done. It was taken down within 24 hours. It wasn't even there long enough. They didn't even pay for it to be long enough for members of the public that could have come and seen this art installation that would have had a deep and meaningful impact. Members of the public maybe paying a small fee that could have gone towards, you know, suicide prevention charities, all sorts of things. But no, they literally created a stage. Meghan went there for her performance alongside Harry, and they took it down, took the stage apart 24 hours later. So I'm not shocked that they dumped it. In fact, you know, it was on the cards. I think a lot of people that can see their behavior and they can see how false and fake that they are. You know, there's a reason why Justin Bateman, you know, called them, what was it? The
Disaster tourists.
Disaster tourists, they're grief grifters. You only have to remember Uvalde, you know, you only have to remember Meghan making sure that she walked around in front of all of those cameras. She wasn't there to privately pay her respects, because if she was, she never would have walked around several times in front of every single camera crew that was there. These two are mercenary, and it's another reminder that whilst these two are getting awards for being humanitarians, you only have to look at how they treat their own family members, let alone organizations that sign up with them. So I do feel very sorry for the parents. You're right. I do believe that they were duped. I think that they were duped by the couple. I think Harry and Meghan will always make a career out of duping people. They offer the world but give nothing back in return, because it's 100%. Only about self-promotion.
100%. But look, your posts on X on this sort of got me through, because I was able to be like, yes, I'm raging about this, and you were too. So make sure you follow According to Taz on X, but more importantly, actually subscribe to her brilliant YouTube channel for amazing royal analysis. And it's a big week next week, Tash. So we will see you then. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you so much.
Who knows which way it's going to go, Dan?
I know. Well, I'd quite like to see his reputation destroyed, to be honest, but let's see. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. According to Taz, thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend.